Alright, what's up guys, this is Haglar, and I'm making this video just to present my feedback on the Team Clash event that just finished on all servers. This was an event with a special 7 vs 7 game mode, as well as it involved a Twitch drop campaign, and on the other servers it involved sort of a collaboration with the community contributors like the popular streamers and YouTubers. On NA it was a little different, but it's the same event, and the same things happened. This video is mainly my feedback about the gameplay, but I'll briefly just touch on the Twitch drop campaign. And I was one of the streamers that got selected to have the drops on my channel, so obviously I'm a little biased. It did benefit me a lot, getting those drops, and I'm grateful for that because my viewer numbers, got really high like a lot of other streamers. However, the drops were not actually very good. They were way too rare to get. It's not that many people ended up getting the epic drop, which was getting the commander. Most people got either nothing or just the guaranteed kind of small drop that wasn't very good. So I mean, my feedback on that is pretty simple, right? You just make it less rare to get the drop, and then also add in more small drops that you can get frequently, like every few minutes, like a couple consumables or something, to indicate to players that it's actually working and it's all functioning, and that there's still a chance for them to get the epic drop. Because for a lot of people, they just sat there watching for hours and got nothing, so they didn't even know if it was working or not. So just make it more common, give out some more common small drops, and then make the epic drops a little bit easier to get. But that's just my feedback for the Twitch part of this event. I'm mainly here to talk about the gameplay, and I think what I have to say, I think a lot of people are going to want to hear it, and I think a lot of people are going to agree with me. So if you could just like this video, comment on this video, try to spread it. I really hope someone at Wargaming ends up seeing this and ends up actually listening to my feedback. So let's get into it. Okay, so I just want to quickly touch on the differences between 15 vs 15 gameplay and 7 vs 7 gameplay, and just try to explain it. So I've pulled up a map here. I've put 30 icons on for both teams, and what you will see is that the map is quite congested, and this can apply to any map. I just picked Himmelsdorf because everyone knows it. So you can see all these positions are occupied in a 15 vs 15 battle. There's not many places to go, and what this results in is the game being a little bit more static and hard to make a play. So you can't really push anywhere because every position is denied by an enemy tank that's occupying that position, so it's pretty hard to do things. And then you combine this with artillery, making open positions really impossible to play in on a lot of maps, the gameplay just becomes really static and slow and hard to make plays, which is bad for a new player because they get punished if they try and do anything, and if they make a mistake they get punished really hard. And it's also bad for the good player because their knowledge of the map and rotations and strategy is they're not really allowed to do what they otherwise could in a 7 vs 7 game. So if we switch over to the 7 vs 7 slide, you can see a lot more of the map is open up and available. So that means that you can make a play, you can make a push, you can push through here, you can do so much more, because with 7 tanks you cannot control the whole map. In a 15 vs 15 game, the whole map is controlled, right? So you can't really go anywhere and you get stuck. But in 7 vs 7, you don't have enough tanks to control the whole map, so that means you can always rotate somewhere, make a push, you can flank people. And in none of these games I played in the 7 vs 7 mode, there was a situation where the enemy team was camping and we couldn't break it. Whereas in a 15 v 15, there's so many pub battles that I play where the best thing to do is just sit still and wait for the bad players to make a mistake. So I hope that can just quickly explain the problems with 15 vs 15 and why 7v7 is more dynamic and more fun and is better for a good player, because a good player can use their knowledge of positions and rotations to affect the battle more, and a bad player is going to get punished a little bit less because they're not getting shot by 3 Arty and 15 tanks for accidentally driving out into the open. So I think it's just better for everyone having this 7 vs 7 style of gameplay. Okay, so now that I've gone over why 7v7 is better than 15 vs 15 for tier 10, I want to talk about some of the issues that there were with the event and how to fix them, because all of the issues that there were can be easily fixed and everything can be improved, and I'm going to explain to you right now. So that's why I really hope that someone actually watched this from Wargaming and can, you know, realize that these are some actual good ideas. So the first thing is the matchmaking was really bad during the event. The Commander AF team on the NA server had way too many people on it, so that when their team went into the queue, they never got a battle. It took them minutes to get queued up, and my team had so few people in it that we clicked a battle instantly. We're in a game against a Commander AF team, and we never once fought against the Cabbage team, which was the other team. I'm not sure if this was a problem on the other servers as much, but I think for EU at least, like the Daki team was so much higher than their teams. But anyway, you could keep the teams for the general fun, the hype of the event and whatnot, and the rewards, but just make the matchmaking random in the future, and I'll describe more about how I think the matchmaking should work in this. But anyway, the team matchmaking, just get rid of it, and also, please make NACCs the commanders next time. But anyway, that's not really important. Just don't let the teams affect the matchmaking, so that one team has matchmaking that takes 5 minutes. That's basically the point I want to get across there. The second thing, and this is where it gets a bit more complicated with my solution for it. So what you'll notice is, with the gameplay that I'm just going to show in the background as I'm talking, as I'm playing in a platoon with my friends who are, you know, also like Super Unicum level players. And what you'll notice is that we win almost every single game we play, and we're not really trying very hard. We're not calling, we're not communicating, we're not shooting gold rounds, at least I wasn't. Like, I'm just trying to have fun and make credits and play casually. I'm not like playing as hard as I can. And we win every single game because it's 7 vs 7. And 7 vs 7, each individual player is so much more important. So when you have 3 top players all together in a random game, it's just like, it's completely hopeless for the enemy team. So my solution to this is, this is going to be a little bit more complicated. So what you do is you create a casual matchmaking queue of this where you cannot platoon. You have to be solo. You have to be solo. It's 7 vs 7 solo only. And then, so that you can still play with your friends, you're going to make a 7 vs 7 ranked competitive mode where you have to go into battle with a pre-made 7 vs 7 team, and you get matched up against another pre-made 7 vs 7 team. And this is not really like platooning, but it's the best solution that I can think of. And it's actually going to make the game so much more competitive. Because what you can also do is you can make this kind of like advances. So advances are the clan wars. It's not clan wars. It's like strongholds, but for 15 versus 15 tier 10. And you have matchmaking where you get matched up against another clan, and it's only at certain times of day that this is available. So you get your clanmates, you make 15 versus 15, you get matchmaking against another clan based on the ELO score. So if you're the top clan, you don't get put against the bottom clan. And you could do the same thing for 7 vs 7. You would have a pre-made team, and your team would have an ELO score associated with it. It would be like kind of a mini clan, right? And you would get matchmaking against another 7 vs 7 team with a similar ELO score. And, you know, as you play and you won more games, you would climb up this ranked ladder, and you could see the ranked ladder, so you could see who the #1 team on the server is, and etc. And you could see where you fall on that. And this would just be a random matchmaking queue where you click battle, and your team of 7 guys that are all readied up would get put into a battle against another 7v7 team. And so the issue I could see here is the server population being too small, because this is very similar to what team battles used to be. And team battles on NA, they got rid of the game mode because no one played it and it was very hard to get into a game. So my solution to this, maybe just make it only available on certain hours of the day, like peak hours of the day. But also, this game mode was incredibly popular, and from what the interest that I've seen in this game mode, I think some of the server population issues can be solved. If you give people a really quality game mode to play, I think people will play it, and I think the server population issues are not going to be as much of a problem as you might think. So that's my solution. You have 2 separate queues. You have a solo queue where you have to play alone, This would solve a Unicum platoons wiping out every single game. And then you have a competitive queue where you could have, you know, strategy, you could have a caller, you could have a pre-made team, and it would be very competitive. Or if you don't want to be very competitive, your team would end up having a low elo score, and you play against kind of the other lower teams, and you could still have an enjoyable experience, right? So that's my solution for that. And this would also kind of fix the problem of the game mode lacking, you know, competitiveness, because it was too easy for me. I didn't enjoy it as much because I didn't have to try. But if you give me a competitive game mode where I have to try, it's going to be a lot more fun. And another point, if you add all this into the game, you will add statistics into the game for this mode. Right now there were no statistics, which was kind of boring. I would like to see statistics where you can see average damage, win rate, stats per tank. So you just have to add another tab in the game to see your statistics for this game mode. And you could also add in 3 marks for the solo queue, not the ranked queue where you have your own team, but the solo queue. You could add 3 marks, which would be separate from the random battle 3 marks. That way it will be another sort of incentive to play the solo mode. You could grind your 3 marks out again on your tanks, and you could just kind of have, like, you could have 2 sets of 3 marks that, you know, like maybe it's an outline of the stars or something. You could do whatever you want with it, but just give players another 3 marks, and like the requirements would be different based on the mode, obviously, and whatnot. I think that would be a fun thing. Okay, so one other quick little issue that I want to point out is the BB rental players. A lot of these tanks where you can see the BB beside their name, that means it's played with a player that probably doesn't have tier 10s. They're in a rental tank that's given to them. And these ended up just being like complete noobs that have no idea what's going on. And the games with the BB players, you would know, you could just farm them. They have no idea, they have no chance of fighting back against you usually. So just remove rental vehicles from this game mode. I'm sure it was just in because it was a temporary game mode, right? So you want to give everyone a chance to play. But if this is made permanent, which this is what I'm advocating for this to be permanent, obviously you can't have BB players. So just quick point, get that out of the way. One more thing is the cap circle is it's in counter mode. Now 77 is historically attack defense. However, for a random queue like this, I do think the encounter mode is better than attack defense, because if you are with a random team, you don't really want to be figuring out how to attack or defend without having the strategy. So the encounter is fine, but it could be made a little bit faster just for balance, because it's just so irrelevant. A lot of these like not very good players were baited onto sitting on the cap, especially because there were some missions that incentivized them to cap. I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but the capping mission just caused them all to clump on the cap and get surrounded and die, because the cap was so slow. Like it didn't matter. So I never once lost a game to cap, and I don't think I won a game by capping it. It just doesn't happen. And you can see this game, their whole team went and sat on the cap circle, and me and my platoon just kind of surrounds them all, and we just farm them. So the cap should maybe be a little bit faster. But that being said, the encounter, while it is still better for these solo random ones that I'm suggesting, for the ranked mode that I'm suggesting, it should be attack defense. Because in that mode, it's expected of you that you have a pre-made team going in, you have a caller, you have strategy, you have a tank lineup, and you actually know what's going on. So you can actually set up an attack defense, and the matchmaking would just kind of be like random whether you get on the attacking or the defending side of a map, because it's usually some maps is slight advantage being on one or the other. So it would just have to be kind of random which one you get on. But for the competitive 77 mode, attack defense all the way. For the solo queue that I'm suggesting, the casual solo queue, encounter is fine, but maybe just a little bit faster. Cap time could be okay. Okay, so I want to point out something that I did appreciate about this mode that they did add in, and that is that you are not allowed to play the Chieftain, 907, 279 reward tanks like that. Obviously, it ended up affecting tanks that it shouldn't, like a 121B or an M60, things like that are not overpowered. They're just also in the same classification, but I can see why that happens of them trying to be fair. But them trying to be fair also means that the EBR wasn't banned, which I wish it was, because the EBR is just like so much more powerful than other light tanks in getting vision. But I can see they're trying to be fair, and the EBR is a tech tree tank, so it's hard for them to justify how that needs to be banned. But what I would suggest is that perhaps in the solo queue you could not ban anything, but in the ranked competitive queue you could just figure out what tanks to ban: Chieftain, Nino, EBR, 2-7, and that is what they do in the Community League. And this also, I can start talking about my thoughts for how the Community League can now relate to the 7v7. So if they hypothetically listen to all the ideas I'm saying and make this a permanent game mode, that means that more people are going to be familiar with 7v7. And as we know, back in the day, Wargaming League, Gold League, the esports of this game used to be a 7v7 format. And one of the problems with it was that the player base did not relate to 7v7. They didn't know what it was because all they ever play is 15 versus 15. So if you now have this in the game, that means you all of a sudden have a player base that is relating to 7 versus 7 and knows how to play 7 versus 7. So that means you can slowly start bringing that back, and I will describe how to do that in the next clip. So what you do to eventually bring the esports scene back is that you transition Community League to 7 vs 7 format. Currently, Community League is the closest thing that we have on NA, at least. So that's where I'm coming from. So that's what I'm talking about. NA specific things is the Community League. And the Community League is kind of it's a community-driven thing, but Wargaming has some decisions over it, and they've decided on the format. And they decided that it's 5 versus 5, but no one really likes 5 versus 5. It's not as good of a game mode, and it's just not as fun. So what you do is, now that you have 7 versus 7 in the game, you just make Community League 7 versus 7. It's very simple. For one, now you have Community League becomes more popular because everyone in the game, all the casual players, know what 7 versus 7 is, and they've played it before. They can relate to it. They understand the strategies. And it becomes more competitive because you've introduced this ranked mode where the 7v7 teams can practice and play against other 7v7 teams, and aspiring players that want to play on the Community League can try out with the teams, can make their own teams. It just becomes more competitive because more and more people are playing it, and that's what you need to make a game mode competitive. Is people need to practice it and get experience with it, and new talent needs to come and try and play it. You just need a lot more people playing the game mode. So before Community League happened, it's not like anyone had ever played 5 vs 5 before. It's a completely new thing. But now if you have 7 vs 7 in the game, you could have the Community League teams practicing playing the game mode in the ranked ladder, and they would be the ones that end up, at the top of the server in the rating, playing each other, getting better, and then you could have all the people, underneath them aspiring to get to that level in the ranked ladder. So you would not only have 7 vs 7 Community League get more popular, get more viewership on Twitch, it would get more competitive, and then you would get more people playing it in-game because they have something to aspire to, because they could try, I want to play this in-game because I watch people play it and I want to get on a team and I want to be competing, and what you could also do is, part of this event was had to do with Twitch drops. So they had a Twitch drop campaign, which was relatively successful from my point of view. I got way more viewers than I normally had. I was maintaining 1,000 viewers on Twitch for a while, which never happens. I'm usually a 200, 100, 200 viewer streamer, so getting 1,000 viewers, it's crazy for me, and it's really cool. But what they can do to make it even more popular is when they are casting the Community 7 vs 7 League, they just add Twitch drops to those streams. Get thousands of people watching those streams, more eyes, more popularity, more people playing it in game. It's just a cycle. So the popularity of the 7 vs 7 mode goes sky high, and I don't think you would run into the server population issues where there's not enough people playing it like there was with team battles that weren't very popular. I think this mode could just be insanely popular. There's so much hype around it right now. Keep the hype. Just keep the hype. Don't let it die out. Put it in the game in a permanent competitive mode. Make Community League 7 vs 7, use that as the test, and then bring back your own real esports with real money, and actually have a proper esports like most other big games in the world have. like most other massive games actually have a proper esports scene. So use the community league for your test, at least for NA. I don't know what's going on other servers, but that's where I'm coming from. So make community league 7 vs 7, keep the 7 vs 7 in the game permanently, make a solo casual queue, and then make a ranked competitive queue where you have an elo rating and matchmaking, and it's like mini advances in 7 vs 7, and you would get a meta developed, you would get strategies, you would get teams, you would get callers. It would be so much better than 15 vs 15. This game would be fun again. It would bring back old players. It would get so much hype on the game. Continue with the drops. The Twitch viewership will go up. I'm just like, I know if they do this, the game is going to get more popular. It'll make them more money. It'll get more hype. Things will blow up on Twitch. Everyone will have more fun. It'll be all around good for everyone. So I really hope someone listens to this and actually implements some of these things in the game. I hope they at least heard little pieces here and there. If they don't at least implement all of it, I hope they like at least find some little things that I said and can put them into the game, because I've been playing this game for 8 years now, and I've been in the competitive scene. I've played, I played in Gold League qualifiers at least. I never actually was in proper Gold League, but I've experienced the Gold League qualifiers. I've played in top clans. I've played in show matches against EU. I've played in Community League. I've casted Community League. I've been the commander of a top clan. Like I've done it all in this game, and I can say like it's getting boring. There's not that much left to do. 15 vs 15 it's not that fun for me. And 7 vs 7 is really where it's at. It's this perfect sweet spot of gameplay. And I'm just trying to tell Wargaming that this is the avenue that they need to go down. They don't need to get rid of 15 vs 15 or anything. Just add this in as the alternative, and I guarantee it'll be extremely popular, not only for the casual player, but for the competitive player, and then the esports scene can just gradually, come back in, and I guarantee it'll look like that. The trajectory, it'll go straight up to the moon. So anyway, those were my ideas. I hope I was coherent enough for someone at Wargaming to understand this, and if not, I hope you at least enjoyed the video. But please like, comment, share. Just try to get this video out there. I really do hope someone sees this. I know I'm not like the biggest YouTube creator or have the most quality editing or whatever, but I think what I'm saying is pretty relevant and pretty important. So I hope that someone hears me, because I think most people are gonna agree with at least most of what I'm saying here, and I'm sure people have a lot of points to add on. I just tried to describe my most important points that I could think of, but if you have any other ideas, leave them in the comments. Be sure to check out my Twitch. I stream on Twitch with the same username. It'll be linked in the description, but other than that, thank you everyone for watching and sticking it to the end, and yeah, I will see you guys later.